The following program is a presentation of the Civil War Broadcasting Network, available on the free YouTube channel General Grant by himself or Dr. E.C. Fields, on the Facebook page Kurt Fields as General Ulysses S. Grant, and on various other social media. The website is generalgrantbyhimself.com. This program is one of those presentations in the ongoing series Ulysses S. Grant Bicentennial Moments, wherein General Grant looks at a person, place, or event in the Civil War for reflection and observation. Permission to copy and distribute is given and indeed encouraged. Remember, you are the future of our past. And now, June 19th, 1865, the French problem. I'm General Ulysses S. Grant, and this is a Ulysses S. Grant Bicentennial Moment, addressing the French problem in Mexico. On June 19, 1865, I sent President Johnson this letter addressing my concerns about the French issue in Mexico and the puppet government of Maximilian. Washington, D.C., June 19, 1865. His Excellency Andrew A. Johnson, President of the United States. Sir, the great interest which I feel in securing an honorable and permanent peace whilst we still have in service a force sufficient to ensure it, and the danger and disgrace which, in my judgment, threatens us unless positive and early measures are taken to avert it, induces me to lay my views before you in an official form. In the first place, I regard the act of attempting to establish a monarchical government on this continent in Mexico by foreign bayonets as an act of hostility against the government of the United States. If allowed to go on until such a government is established, I see nothing before us but a long, expensive, and bloody war, one in which the enemies of this country will be joined by tens of thousands of disciplined soldiers embittered against their government by the experience of the last 4 years. As justification for open resistance to the establishment of Maximilian's government in Mexico, I would give the following reasons. First, the act of attempting to establish a monarchy on this continent was an act of known hostility to the government of the United States, was protested against at the time, and would not have been undertaken but for the great war which was raging, and which it was supposed by all the great powers of Europe, except possibly Russia, would result in the dismemberment of the country and the overthrow of republican institutions. Second, every act of this empire of Maximilian has been hostile to the government of the United States. Matamoros and the whole Rio Grande under his control has been an open port to those in rebellion against this government. It is notorious that every article held by the rebels for export was permitted to cross the Rio Grande and from there to go unmolested to all parts of the world, and they in return to receive and pay all articles, arms, munitions of war, etc. they desired. Rebels in arms have been allowed to take refuge on Mexican soil protected by French bayonets. French soldiers have fired on our men from the south side of the river in aid of the rebellion. Officers acting under the authority of the would-be empire have received arms, munitions, and other public property from the rebels after the same had become the property of the United States. It is now reported, and I think there is no doubt of the truth of the report, that large organized and armed bodies of rebels have gone to Mexico to join the imperialists. It is further reported, and too late we will find the report confirmed, that a contract or agreement has been entered into with Dr. Gwynne, a traitor to his country, to invite into Mexico armed immigrants for the purpose of wrenching from the rightful government of that country states never controlled by the imperialists. It will not do to remain quiet and theorize that by observing a strict neutrality, all foreign force will be compelled to leave Mexican soil. Rebel immigrants to Mexico will go with arms in their hands. They will not be a burden upon the state, but on the contrary, will become producers, always ready, when the emergency arises, to take up their arms in defense of the cause they espouse. That their leaders will espouse the cause of the empire purely out of hostility to this government, I feel there is no doubt. There is a hope that the rank and file may take the opposite side if any influence is allowed to work upon their reason. But if a neutrality is to be observed, which allows armed rebels to go to Mexico, and which keeps out all other immigrants, and which also denies to the liberals of Mexico belligerent rights, the right to buy arms and munitions in foreign markets, and to transport them through friendly territory to their homes, I see no chance for such influences to be brought to bear. What I would propose would be a solemn protest against the establishment of a monarchical government in Mexico by the aid of foreign bayonets. If the French have a just claim against Mexico, I would regard them as having triumphs and would guarantee them suitable reward for their grievances. Mexico would no doubt admit their claims if it did not affect their territory or rights as a free people. The United States could take such pledges as would secure her against loss. How all this could be done without bringing on an armed conflict, others who have studied such matters could tell better than I. If this course cannot be agreed upon, then I would recognize equal belligerent rights to both parties. I would interpose no obstacle to the passage into Mexico of immigrants to that country. I would allow either party to buy arms or anything we have to sell, and interpose no obstacle to their transit. These views have been hastily drawn up and contain but little of what might be said of the subject treated of. If, however, it serves to bring the matter under discussion, it will have accomplished all that is desired. Very respectfully, your obedient servant, U.S. Grant. This has been a Ulysses S. Grant Bicentennial Moment. I'm General Ulysses S. Grant.